If I'm not mistaken, you're the type of person that's currently using AI to solve many of your life's problems. Things like sending an email or maybe answering bigger questions like, how do I overcome my depression? And in this podcast, I'm gonna give you guys the answers of whether or not AI can replace your therapist. And the last part is gonna absolutely shock you. So back in 2004, an amazing movie came out and it was called I, Robot. And in this movie, Will Smith plays a police officer. And this movie is happening in the year 2035. And there's this big question of whether or not robots deserve to be in the same space as humans. Meaning, do they deserve to, or rather, can they serve in similar roles like police officers, doctors, or whatever the case may be, right? The moral character of these robots are what is being questioned. Now, what I'm going to do in this podcast at the end is I'm going to use the 3 laws that they use in the movie to govern the robots. I'm going to use those 3 laws to actually help to answer the question to this podcast. So with that being said, we're going to jump into the first point. But before we do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. When you subscribe to this community, you get amazing tips and gems just like this, absolutely free. I don't want you guys to miss out on that. And also, I give a lot of free gifts in the link in my channel. So with that being said, let's get to point number 1. So ironically, I'm gonna open up point number 1 with another movie, and this is by far one of my most favorite movies ever, Gladiator. And Gladiator 2 is absolutely amazing. It has Denzel Washington in it. But in Gladiator 1, you have this guy, his name is Maximus. Now, Maximus, he's a war general, and he's captured, and he's sent to basically be a gladiator. Now, in this movie, the gladiators, they basically are kind of like the low of the low. They're kind of treated like animals, if you will. Now, in this movie, a lot of them are sent into these arenas to fight for their life. And in this one scene, Maximus, he's put into the arena with 5 other people that are trying to kill him. Now, what you got to know is that in this movie, the gladiators, they're only given subpar weapons and sometimes no armor. But the people that they're fighting, they have far better weapons. They also have more armor, a lot more things and reasons to kill these people that they're fighting. So imagine this one man is going up against 5 people, and at the end, Maximus, the gladiator, the main character, he kills all of them, right? 1 versus 5, and he comes out on top. And at the end, he gives the most famous line ever recorded in cinema. He says, "Are you not entertained?" It is this amazing part of the movie. Now, in this movie, what we start to see is that the weapon is only as strong as the wielder. In that movie, Maximus could have been given a slingshot. Matter of fact, in the book, the Bible, David, he's only given a slingshot to defeat Goliath, right? Who's this big, monstrous guy with all this armor and all this stuff, right? And I'm giving these examples because AI is very similar. AI is only a weapon, it's only a tool, and it's only as strong as its wielder. Now, what does that mean for you is that you actually have to really know yourself in order to be able to use something like AI, because AI is only going to give out what you put in. If you do not know the answers or the questions to ask it, it's not going to give you the answers that you need. And 9 times out of 10, if you're not careful, it's going to give you the most basic answers that you could have found in a book, a YouTube video, or just simply searched online, if you will. And that's what I want to tell you guys. AI is great, yes, but it's only as strong as its wielder. Now, for you, a question I want you to ask yourself is, do I know myself well enough to actually use AI? And to know yourself, you also need to know psychology. You have to know what type of questions, what type of therapy frameworks you want to use in order to help you, because one thing that may not help someone will help another. In my framework, I use 2 simple practices. I use acceptance and commitment therapy and internal family systems. Now, for some other clients, hey, CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, may be a better route for them. But for me, for my clients, I see a lot of benefits with them using those 2 frameworks. So again, when it comes to AI, with this first point, the weapon is only as strong as its wielder. AI is only going to be as strong as you are. And what that strength looks like is you being able to know yourself and also just simply know psychology. And you don't need to know it to the level of a therapist, but you do need to have some basic background information about psychology. All right, point number 2, and I love this point. So let's face it, AI is accessible 24/7. For me as a therapist, I'm only accessible Monday through Friday from 10 to 6 p.m. But here's the thing, between those hours of 10 and 6 p.m., I'm able to connect with you in a way that AI can't. I'm able to give you guys stories about how I personally have started a business, was failing in that business, and was able to turn it around by attending one conference. And this is a true story of my life. I remember I was on the brink of just losing it all, having to go back to a job that I hated, but from a conference, I learned about marketing. And from that marketing conference, I was able to scale my business to where it is now. And where it is now is in a place where I was able to pay for a wedding to help my wife. I was also able to buy us a house, and I'm able to provide for us as well. Now, when I give stories like that, it does something for the listener. It does something for the client. What it does is it helps to give them a sense of hope. Also, I'm able to connect with them in a way that AI or a robot just simply can't. And that is the thing with AI. Is it accessible 24/7? Yes. But in your case, you may need something a little bit more personal. You may need a connection in order to help you to get through what you're going through. And unfortunately, AI, at the end of the day, it just can't replicate human interactions. Now, you may be someone that says, hey, I don't really need a personal answer. I just need an answer. And if that's the case, then so be it. And that comes to point number 2, right? It's all about convenience versus connection. If you're someone that feels like, hey, I need an answer right here, right now, and I don't need it to be personal, I just need to know the X's and O's, then great. Hey, AI is for you. But if it's all about the Jimmys and the Joes, meaning if it's all about the personal relationship that you have with someone, if that's the thing that helps you to find that belief, if that's the thing that helps you to find hope in yourself, then having a therapist is going to do that. Because here's the thing. Finding a therapist is like dating. You sometimes will not find the right fit on the first or maybe even the third try. But when you do find the right fit, it is amazing. And I've personally seen amazing things happen in the therapy room. So I want you guys to think about that. Is it connection that I need, or is it convenience? That question will help you to know whether or not AI is going to help you to replace your therapist. All right, point number 3, and I love this point. This is probably one of the best parts about being a therapist. And as a therapist, we have this thing that maybe you don't know we have, but it's called a BS meter. And what that means is that we simply know when you guys are BSing us and when you're not. Something that ChatGPT AI can't do is know whether or not you're truly putting your all into the solutions that you're being given. And I'll give you guys a great example. So I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, and one thing that us as entrepreneurs use is Facebook ads. Now, Facebook ads, it is a long game, meaning you can start today and you may not find the answers or the perfect ad until 6 months or maybe a year later. Now, here's the thing. You're going to ask AI, hey, how do I set up the perfect Facebook ad? Or it may be, how do I lose weight? Or whatever the answer or the question is that you're looking for. And it's going to give you answers back. Now, when you go out there and you implement the answers that's given and come back, AI is not going to ask you, well, how often did you try it? Or how hard did you push yourself? Or did you find a coach? Or all these things, right? It's going to take the fact that you said, hey, it didn't work, and it's going to give you another solution. But as a therapist, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys, did you have a coach? Did you test it? How many times did you try? These are all questions that are not beautiful. They're not sexy, but they are required. And it's required because you, and I'll even throw myself in there, if we're not careful, we can BS ourselves into thinking that we actually gave it our all when really we weren't. And that's the thing about having a therapist. They're going to hold you accountable. And that's the third point rather that I want to make. Having a therapist is all about accountability. Now, if you're someone that feels that you don't need a lot of accountability because you have that baked in you, then cool. AI is going to be great for you. But if you're someone that needs the answers and the accountability to follow up with those things, then you need to find a therapist. That is the thing that AI just cannot replicate. And something that I also do with my clients, especially if you're a client of mine, you know this. I personally send you guys emails. Sometimes I even send texts just to check in on how you guys are doing. AI is not doing that. And at the end of the day, even if AI did that, would the connection that I talked about in point number 2, would that really help you to feel like, wow, this means a lot to me? Or would you feel like, hey, this is just something doing this routine program of reaching out to me? If so, then it may not be as meaningful as someone actually checking in with you. So point number 3, guys, I want you guys to ask yourself, how much accountability do I need? If you need a lot, then ChatGPT AI is not going to be for you. But if you only need a little, hey, by all means, use AI. Now, at the end, this bonus point that I wanted to make, again, it refers back to the movie I, Robot with Will Smith. Now, again, these robots, they had to live by 3 rules. Everything that they did had to coincide within these 3 laws. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read these 3 laws to you, and we're going to use that to decide whether or not AI will help you to replace your therapist. So the first law was that a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Law number 2 was a robot must obey the orders given to it by its human, except when orders conflict with the first law. And then law number 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. Now, as you can see, these laws are set up with the human in mind, right? You cannot harm them, whether it's by doing something or by not doing something. Now, in this movie, if you know the movie, you know there's a scene that Will goes back and he talks about. And this is where he basically develops this bad blood with robots, right? I was almost going to say AI. So in the movie, there's a scene where Will, his car drives off a bridge or into a river, whatever the case may be, and he's underwater. And it's not just him that's underwater, but it's also a little girl. And the robot jumps in and he actually saves Will instead of the girl, even though Will said, "Save her! Save the girl!" And the reason why the robot only saved Will is because the robot calculated that he had a higher percentage of surviving. Now, in that situation, the robot wasn't able to read context. And that's the thing about AI. AI, it knows the right thing to do. It knows to follow the program that's been given, but it doesn't know context as well as human beings does. And that's why I think point number 3 was so important. Because again, if you need a lot of accountability, then you're going to want to have a therapist. And point number 2, I talked about whether or not having a connection is more important to you than convenience. If so, then again, you're going to want to have a therapist. So I answered those questions, or rather I asked those questions, and I gave you those laws because I want you guys to understand that AI is a great tool, right? It's a great weapon, as I stated in point number 1. But also these weapons, they need to be used in the right context, but also the wielder of those weapons need to have really good skill set. Because without those 2 things, it makes it very hard for AI to truly replace your therapist. So my name is Coach Wells. I'm a licensed therapist. Thank you for checking out this podcast. And as a bonus, make sure you guys click the link in my bio, the link in my channel, because in that profile, in that channel, you'll see that there's some gifts for you guys just for listening. So with that being said, I'll see you guys later, and thanks for checking us out.